This is Nasha Kasha, Ukrainian Almanac. 28 minutes of stories for everyone about Ukrainian life. Nasha Kasha is heard on 16 campus and community radio stations from Newfoundland to British Columbia. Vitayu, my name is Stefan Andrusiak. This is episode 168, and it was recorded in Abbotsford, British Columbia. They call it Abbey, a city in the country, established 1 year after Ukrainians first came to Canada, 1892, and many other immigrations followed. The Greater Abbotsford area has the third highest proportion of visible minorities among metropolitan areas in all of Canada. The city's motto is Unus cum virus quorum. That's Latin for one with the strength of two. According to Statistics Canada, Abbotsford is also the country's most generous city for charitable donations, 9 straight years in a row. It is conveniently located. Abbotsford is but an hour east of Vancouver by car, 71.4 kilometers away to be exact. And the U.S. border is just a hop away because the municipality's southern border is the Canada-U.S. border. I'm going to take you to the Abbotsford Agricultural Fair. It features amusement rides, 4-H shows, live music. In today's episode, you'll hear from an accordion-playing Mountie, a food truck owner who's looking to sell her pierogi mobile, and 2 thoughtful residents who talk turkey and about life and love the second time around. All of that's coming up in Nasha Kasha, but we begin with Piglets, Buffalo Bill, and the Agri-Fair's big race.
Here they go! Oh, it looks like Albert Weinstein got a pretty good jump, but look how Donald Trump and Hannah Anderson right behind him. Oh, they're going to be close, it's going to be close. Yeah, Hannah Anderson, team number 1!
Hello there, I'm Buffalo Bill, and I'm the host of the Richards Racers Show. We are sort of a traveling show here. We go hit all the fairs around here. We did Maple Ridge already. We're in Abbotsford right now, heading to the Chilliwack Fair and then P&E.
Where are you from, Buffalo Bill?
We're from Quesnel, and then we hit the road for about 7 weeks of the summer doing all the fairs.
Now, do you raise pigs?
I do. I raise these guys right from babies, and like I said, our babies here are about a month late, so we're still kind of training on the road, but they're doing quite well. Yeah, they're born and raised right at my farm, yeah.
Now, is Buffalo Bill a pseudonym, a stage name, or do you have another name?
No, that's just my stage name. My real name's Bill Beaulieu.
Bill Beaulieu. Yeah. Okay. So, Bill, how do you teach little piglets to race?
Oh, dude, pigs are actually so smart. They actually, like the pig you saw there today, she's learned all those 3 tricks so far in 3 days. This is our 4th day of training. You know, we just usually, from baby, we sit with them, get them to trust us, like us, so then you can touch and pet them, and then you just, once you start doing one trick.
I didn't have a camera, so what are the tricks?
Well, the tricks, by the time we get to the P&E, we'll have them sitting, kneeling down, saying their prayers. Then they'll lay down. Then they'll go take a run and come run back at me, go through a hula hoop. Then I'll take a stick and I'll throw the stick and they'll fetch and bring that stick back to me. And then I can even get them to give me a kiss.
My goodness, and you named the piglets after personalities, some of them political and very Canadian.
Yeah, what can you say? You know, whatever works.
So there's Just-in-Time Trudeau.
Just-in-Time Trudeau, yeah.
Заколов Василь свиню, крольчикунцю молоду, привід має свіжа шкварка, а до шкварки повна чарка.
Свині, кабани, льохи, поросята, жить без них не можемо ми, свини треба мати. Свині, кабани, льохи, поросята, жить без них не можемо ми, свини треба мати.
I'm Dave Hornung. I'm a musician. I happen to play a MIDI accordion, and I'm at Agri-Fair to volunteer for the Fraser Valley Antique Farm Machinery Association to provide some music and some background music in their barn area here so that people can sit and relax and enjoy themselves. I was raised in Saskatchewan on the farm. I left when I was 19 to join the RCMP, and I did all my career here. But I've always been an active part of Agri-Fair. I volunteered for years, and when I retired from the force, I thought I better get back into music, and here I am volunteering again.
Did they move you around a lot in British Columbia?
No, I was lucky. I stayed in the Lower Mainland my whole career. Been to headquarters a couple of times, but as you progress through your career, you take on more and more responsibilities. So,
Can you tell me about your roots just a little bit and your interest in ancestry.
our family is originally from a part that was Austria. We came over in the immigrated in the late 1800s. Our family got a number of homesteads in Saskatchewan. We were part of the purge that was taking place in that part of the country at the time.
Who was being purged and why?
The Mennonites by Russia, actually. It was Herzegovina, is where but part of which is Austria, or was at that time, if I have my geography right. And there were Mennonites, us, Germans, and the Jewish people as well.
Mennonites brought farming techniques to Ukraine as well.
Absolutely. It's in the Crimea there. Absolutely. And so there was a number of families that rooted in the area we were, and we were a mixture of Ukrainian, Polish, and German. So we all farmed, and we all got together, and our heritage is cabbage rolls and pierogies and all the really good food that all the cultures, there wasn't one culture. We celebrated everyone's culture, and we were neighbors, and part of being neighborly is that you helped everyone else out.
Describe your playing here within this structure.
Well, I provide background music, and of course it's antique themed, so I play oldie goldies that people can recognize, but it gives them a chance to relax and hear a little bit of music while they're cooling down in the hot weather.
I enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, thank you, and all the best.
Very nice.
Ой, вареники у сметані, ой, вареники запашні духмяні, ой, вареники у сметані, ой, вареники запашні духмяні. Вся родина за столом зібралася нині, частування непросте є у господині. Вареники духмяні, вареники в сметані, славлять і чарують, кожному смакують. Ой, вареники у сметані, ой, вареники запашні духмяні, ой, вареники у сметані, ой, вареники запашні духмяні.
Hi, my name is Grace Unger. I have Grace's Ukrainian Hut at the Abbotsford Agri Fair in BC. We are serving homemade pierogies and cabbage rolls
Now, Grace, how long have you had this business?
since 1994.
My goodness. And what got you into it?
I got laid off from a full-time job, and I thought it would be exciting to try something different. So
What were you doing at the time when you got laid off?
I was working at Price Club. They got taken over by Costco, and I got bought out, and I thought, well, I'll try something different.
Now, Grace, are your family roots partly Ukrainian?
Yes, my mom and dad are Ukrainian. My dad's from Ukraine, come over with his parents, and my mom was born in Canada, but she's Ukrainian too.
You know about his roots way back then?
Kiev was a lot of the relatives are in, but I'm not too sure exactly where he's from.
Now, Unger, is there a bit of German in that?
That's my husband was German, and my maiden name is Nizdowski.
And you grew up in these parts or somewhere else and moved here?
Manitoba, Dauphin, Manitoba, and we moved. I got married to my husband there in Manitoba, and then we moved to Alberta, and then we moved to BC.
Okay, and what's it like living in this area? You're from Abbotsford?
No, I'm from Chilliwack. It's just a 20-minute drive from here. BC is wonderful. The people are so nice. The weather is great. Not a lot of snow. Miss the snow a little time sometimes, but it's just a wonderful. BC is just fantastic. All the weather, the scenery, the mountains.
What was it like growing up in Ukrainian community in Dauphin, Manitoba? Do you remember those times?
Oh, it was wonderful. There was lots of celebration. There was a lot of weddings, a lot of festivals, a lot of getting together with family all the time for every little thing. We enjoyed a lot of family roots, always getting together for whether it was a christening or birthdays, anniversaries, weddings.
Where did you learn your recipes and how to cook?
From my mother. She taught me she cooked everything that a Ukrainian dish, she cooked it all.
Now, there are lots of trucks, food trucks, halls. What makes your food special? What do you try to do?
The unique thing about ours is it's homemade. It's not store-bought. It's not, buy from a store and then take it home and cook it. It's made from scratch. Everything. The pierogies are all handmade, hand-pinched. Everything. The cabbage rolls are all handmade.
Who does all this for you?
Me, my husband, and my daughter.
Is there something you'd like to say to people out there maybe listening, thinking, "Oh, I'll open a food truck"?
If they want a good food truck, I'll sell them mine. I've been doing this since '94. I'm going to be 64. I think it's time to pass the reins off to someone else.
Now, what do you sell? What is it you're selling? You're selling the business, the truck. How does that work? If I wanted to buy one from you,
a person can buy the concession trailer and just do what they want, or they can buy the concession trailer and I can pass on all the events I do.
Дорослий і малий в Україні знає, без вареничків смачних свята не буває. Ой, вареники у сметані, ой, вареники запашні духмяні, ой, вареники у сметані, ой, вареники запашні духмяні.
In the program, you heard Sveni. It's actually a wedding song about little piglets. Words and music by Maria Mazur, sung by Mikhailo Berezutsky. Former RCMP officer David Horning played Unforgettable. It was written by Irving Gordon in 1951 and first made popular by Nat King Cole. Oi Vareniki, the Varennik or the pierogi song, was by Spivorai from Ukraine. We'll end the program with Tilke Dosht, It's Only Rain, by Edward Prestup, otherwise known as Dilya.
Hi, my name is Russ Maximitz. I'm originally from Dauphin, Manitoba. Currently reside in Abbotsford and moved here in 1977.
Hello, my name is Dolores Maximitz. I was born in Saskatchewan, lived in Alberta till I graduated, and then came to BC.
What was your maiden name, Dolores?
Sanger.
Sanger?
Yes.
What's your heritage?
German.
And do you know when your forebears came to this country? After the First World War, second, before?
I think it was after the second.
Were they farmers?
Farmers in Saskatchewan, Allen, Saskatchewan.
When did the Maximatzes come to Canada?
They came over in 1898 from just north of Lviv. Privyatych is a little village near Sukhoi. And their two brothers came over. They settled in the Venlaw area, northwest of Dauphin. We didn't know too much about the Ukrainian connection until about in the 60s, because the communication was stopped during the war and the communist era came in.
But these were true pioneers. I mean, the first Ukrainians on record came over in, 1891 or something?
Yeah, they came in 98, just a few years after. And they settled there. And then we found out in the 60s from some uncles that actually found some old letters. And they went over there in the 70s and they found the actual village where they came from. And so it wouldn't, I guess about 10 years ago, we went over there for a Maximit's reunion, and we went to Lviv and did a tour and celebrated in the village.
It was pretty amazing to see these people that still live in these villages, the fact that they still grow their own vegetables. They have maybe just one cow that they get their milk from. They have 2 or 3 chickens running around, and they also get from one place to another with a horse and buggy.
What was it like growing up in Saskatchewan as a girl?
Well, I only lived there till I was 3, so I don't have too many memories as far as the farm that my parents had. And then I moved to Edmonton, but my father was a carpenter, which he started when he left Saskatchewan, and I used to work with him in his woodworking store.
What did you do in the store?
I always had to clean up all the big piles of sawdust from the lumber that he used to make bedroom suites, Chesterfield suites, and then they would go to another factory where they would upholster. It was pretty amazing to see some of the living room furniture that I actually saw in some friends' homes that I met years later. I could tell that it was my dad's, and underneath was his initials.
What were his initials?
J.S.
And what was his name?
John Sanger.
Wonderful. Did you inherit any of his carpentry skills?
No, but I'm the youngest of 10. I have 6 brothers, and most of them are very handy with wood.
My dad came from a family of 11. I have one brother and one sister, and they're both younger. And they live in, the sister lives in Dauphin, brother lives in Winnipeg.
What were your aptitudes? What did you follow in school, and what did you study?
I went to University of North Dakota and took my PE degree in science. Then I did my master's in Denver and came back and taught in Manitoba for 7 years and moved out here in Abbotsford.
How did you meet?
Him and I on Catholic Match website.
So this is more recent?
Yes, our 9th anniversary is coming up the end of October.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Did you have trepidations going on the site?
I just kind of did it one day. So I went on to a couple of other ones, but because I am Catholic, I decided to use that one. Russ was traveling at that time, and so we kind of connected just through email. And then when he came back to Abbotsford, we met a couple of times for coffee, and it kind of went from there.
What made him the right person?
I guess one of the big things was that it sort of felt like he was a family person, which is what I grew up with, and being Catholic was another major thing. He was just kind of a friendly guy.
That's a great place to start.
It took me a long time to think about, remarrying. I did try really hard to have my first marriage work, but there was a drinking problem which didn't seem to want to be resolved on his part.
Is the decision-making different? Do you weigh things differently?
Yes, I probably had a little bit more of a checklist than when I was in my early 20s. And there were just other things that I felt were more important than what I understood when I was in my 20s.
You passed your checklist.
Yeah, I see that.
Has she ever told you this before?
No, not really, but I had a checklist too, actually.
So your wife died. Is it different the second time around?
Well, we're both in the 60s, so it does make a difference, your attitude towards marriage. And, it's not, with the developed family, and she was accepted by everybody, and she accepted everybody. So it was a perfect fit. And, it was
9 years, that's great.
It was a good fit, yeah. There is... I talked, like her older brother, he's done a lot of history on the family, and the German background, actually, they were persecuted Catholics in Germany after the Reformation. And then they moved to Russia, or Ukraine, actually, near Odessa at that time. So there was a bit of a Ukrainian connection because her cousins and stuff, they know a lot about the Ukrainian background and language and stuff. And so then they came over here as well. They were persecuted and came to the States and then moved up to Allen, Saskatchewan. So.
How did you come to Abbotsford?
I lived in Burnaby, and after, I don't know what, two years we were dating, and it just seemed better to come out here because of his family. His son was here with their children, and so it just seemed better for me to come here than to keep commuting back and forth. I was retired.
And did you work before that?
I worked at TELUS, and I was in accounting, and I worked for the company for 38 and a half years.
What makes you a good accountant?
I like working on my own, and I kind of like math.
Is he a detail-oriented person? I mean, you would want a little bit of that, right?
Yeah.
Are you detail-oriented?
She does the book, so I'm okay. I'm off the hook on that. So.
But what's the best part about living in Abbotsford?
Abbotsford, it was a small farming town, about 25,000 people, but now it's probably over 150. But being from a farm, I always wanted to sort of live in the rural area.
Were you still teaching when you hobby farmed? It was turkey farming, right?
Yes, it was turkey farming, and yeah, I tried to work it around the summer holidays, and had the children involved as well, and so I ran a flock of 10,000 birds in the summertime, and went back to school. 10,000
birds to a layperson like myself—that's a vocation, not a hobby.
Well, it was maybe a little bit more than a hobby.
Okay, a career-oriented TELUS accountant comes to a turkey farm. What was that like?
Well, there weren't any turkeys when I came here. The only thing there was a lot of lawn to cut. But other than that, there weren't any turkeys. Well, maybe one.
But eventually there were? Oh, wait a second. I blew right through that punchline.
Oops.
That's okay. He's smiling. Good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I retired in 2001 from turkeys a long time ago. Yeah, and so they just lived here and cut grass.
So agriculture is a big part of Abbotsford?
Well, Abbotsford basically was known for its raspberries and fruit, and then it got into strawberries, and now it's into blueberries big time. But the feather industry is here, like broiler chickens, laying hens, turkeys, breeder flocks. That's a big component of Abbotsford's agriculture. Or in the industry here. It's a large portion of it.
Anybody thinking of getting into, as you call it, the feather industry, the poultry industry, any advice?
It's difficult to get into it now because the real estate has gone up so much in the area that and there's a lot more restrictions as far as manure disposal and lot size for having a barn. And then if you get too compact, too many barns close together, there's also a chance of disease and stuff like that. So they're trying to discourage more growth in the valley here. They're trying to promote it in the Vernon area and Okanagan.
Can you talk to me about Abbotsford?
It's a friendly city. It's not as busy as the Vancouver area. There's more, like the scenery out here, I think is more appealing.
Well, there is a Ukrainian cultural society here, and when my daughter and son were younger, we used to take them to, they took Ukrainian dancing lessons for a number of years, and the association is still around, and it actually has grown, and there's a festival they have every year in Mission, and the dancers from Seattle and all over BC that attend the competition. So the culture is still is growing.
We have a nice group of friends, and Russ golfs, and I do some volunteer work. I work at the hospice and also at the ladies' prison, where actually I just went this morning, and we spent a couple of hours making rosaries And at the hospice, I just basically sit with people who are getting close and just trying to be there to comfort them in whatever way you can.
Prison volunteering, is that a tough gig?
It is a little disturbing in a way to look at these individuals, and some of them are going to be there forever or for many, many, many years. And it's kind of hard to kind of separate the fact that they are there because of something that they did, which was very bad. But at the same time, they're such wholesome people.
And you're not there to judge anyway.
No. When I left today, one comment that was said was that it was just nice to be able to get away from their house, which I think there's like 6 or 8 ladies that live together. Just the fact that they can be where they don't have the same faces of the ones that they live with.
Any final thoughts, anything you want to say that I haven't asked you about life in general, or lessons learned?
Well, lessons learned. I enjoyed my career teaching. It was fulfilling, and the farming was fun as well. And retirement is very pleasant at this point. And we enjoy going down to Arizona for the winters. It's a fun time.
You know, many people in Canada would think that coming south to Abbotsford was coming to warmer weather in the wintertime.
Yes, when it starts raining, the fall, September, somebody goes up and looks on the calendar to see how many days it's going to be before we're actually going to be heading south. It can kind of be a little bit depressing if you don't, you can go 3 or 4 days with rain, but then you need a couple of days with some sunshine.
Thank you. A pleasure having met you. Is there something you might want to add?
No, it's been an interesting interview. Thank you very much, Stefan.
Thank you. Nice meeting you also.
Я зазирнув в повітря, там дихає весна, твій аромат залишу собі на згадку сна, краплини кольорові на мокрому вікні. Малюю за вікном, я бачу образ твій, він тане наче сон, тільки дощ. Малюю за вікном, далекий образ твій, він тане наче сон.
Nasha Kasha is also a podcast. You can subscribe free at Apple iTunes and at many other podcast distributors. Partial funding for Nasha Kasha is provided by the Ukrainian Credit Union and the Canadian Foundation of Taras Shevchenko. I'll be back in a week, God willing. До милої зустрічі за тиждень часу, дорогі слухачі.